Morning friends, happy Tuesday. How the heck are you doing? The international media are speculating whether Harry and Charles will get back together at the opening ceremony of the Invictus Games. And of course, Invictus as an organisation has a duty to invite people relevant in that country, including a royal family if there is one, but certainly heads of state and the government. It will be really interesting to see whether the king turns up to this one, whether Charles turns up, because my gut feeling is saying he won't, and let me tell you why. And it's really, really sad to say this. I think this is the second time I've said this. I think deep down, Charles and Camilla despise Harry. And this might be Harry's lesson in how deep that contempt actually goes within Charles and Camilla. I don't think they'll be seen there, and it's not because William will have a petulant fit if they are. It's because of that weird situation where Charles is Harry's only surviving parent and he doesn't like his own son. And I've said many times before, Harry needs to realise that he needs to stay away from that family for as long as possible and as far as possible, because his newly built life with Meghan and that happiness needs to be treasured. That should be 100% of his energy and his focus. Looking back is not going to help him.
Family meeting. Let's go. Game, set, match. Harry and Meghan won. And there is nothing the British media or the monarchy can do about it. In the last 4 years, they left the life that he's always known. Started essentially compared with their former life with nothing. And in 4 years, they built a $100 million empire. They've championed Invictus, which everyone is clamoring for, which will then celebrate his 10th anniversary. He's a New York Times bestseller. On top of having a documentary that was widely viewed, reinvigorating her old show Suits. She's had podcast deals and is about to launch a home life decor whole situation. British media were put at a standstill by some jam. You have two senior members of the monarchy that are recuperating from serious ailments, but you're sidelined by jam. And now this is the new narrative. They're completely jumping over William the way Fonzie jumped the shark. By the way, the British media, they jumped the shark. No one truly cares anymore about this family because when Queen Elizabeth died, everything else went out the window. They have nothing. The once and great British Empire has fallen. In one generation. In 1 year. Game over. All you can do is talk about feet, darling. Pull the cord. Wow. So from henceforth, my content's going to change because they've won. My job is done. I might come back and talk about them and royal stuff if it's of great interest to me, but I will be celebrating their love. I will be celebrating their accomplishments, and I will be celebrating life and my own. So come on this journey with me. Ha! Gotta love them. Gotta love them.
What is going on with Harry and Meghan? We know that Sir Clive, the King's longtime aide, has left randomly after about 20 years of working alongside the King. Now, Theo Rycroft, who was kind of his second in charge, has come in. He's very pro-Harry and Meghan. We obviously know that they met at Highgrove a couple of weeks ago. Now another olive branch has been extended in the past week, saying that Harry can stay at Buckingham Palace whenever he likes, which in my opinion is a horrific move. You've got two of the most unpopular royals on record, Harry and Meghan, and he's giving them Buckingham Palace as sort of their own personal hotel. What do you make of all this news? Because in my mind, Lady C, it seems like there's a lot of plates spinning and Harry might actually triumph out of this.
Oh, I don't think so for a second. First of all, Clive Alderton hasn't left yet. He's not leaving for a year. Secondly, all Harry is going to need to do is hear no from Theo Rycroft 4 times before he decides he's the latest enemy. And so that's going to inevitably happen, because Harry would like to believe that his father and his grandmother would love to do whatever he wants, but they are prevented by mean, horrid members of staff. The mean, horrid members of staff implement their wishes.
King Charles saw Prince Harry's kids and came to his senses. So it's now being reported that Harry will actually be staying in Buckingham Palace this upcoming September. Well, let me say this. He's being offered a room to stay there this upcoming September. This after the short reunion he had with his grandkids and Meghan Markle. This past, I think it was like 3 weeks ago now. But that's how it is. You know, the grandkids do something to grandparents. And even though he has not been a great father, I think he wants to make an amends as a grandfather. The babies just melt your heartstrings. So, of course.
Look, let's keep it 100 for a second. The Mirror drops a front page like, Harry, Dad let the world see us together, and we're all supposed to just sit back, eat our popcorn, and pretend this is normal. Nah, the math ain't mathing. This is the exact same paper Harry dragged through court not too long ago. Now all of a sudden, they're out here acting like a full-blown matchmaker, trying to set up a tearful father-son reunion at the Invictus Games. Please, it's giving desperate. It reads less like actual news and more like a rushed PR script written on a lunch break. Here is the real talk for regular folks who live in the real world. Charles is not showing up, period. Let's look at the track record. Charles has dropped the ball as a dad more times than we can count. At this point, it's beyond obvious he doesn't care about Harry's peace, and he definitely doesn't care about the Invictus Games, which, by the way, is actually doing real good for real veterans. What the palace cares about is control. They care about optics. They care about keeping that shiny royal brand clean while the media does their heavy lifting. And don't get me started on the British tabloids. They are straight up exhausting. One minute they hate the guy, the next minute they're printing fan fiction about him giving his dad a hug by the punch bowl. Why? Because drama sells papers. They don't have real news, so they just spin endless speculation, print fake peace treaties, and farm clicks of family mess. It's a literal circus, and the media is running the main tent. In the real world, if your family treats you like an outcast and your old rivals start posting fake quotes about how much you miss home, you change your number. Harry is out here living his life, building his own thing, and the palace and their tabloid buddies just can't stand that the show goes on without them. The Crown wants the drama, the newspapers want the money, and regular people are just sitting here laughing at the spectacle. Let them keep spinning their fake headlines. The rest of us see right through it.
The funny thing about Harry and Meghan is that people keep treating them like they're yesterday's news, while proving the exact opposite every single day. Think about it. The internet forgets people fast. One week you're the biggest thing online. The next week people can't even remember your name because somebody's pet parrot learned how to dance. That's the world we live in. Attention comes and goes like free samples at the supermarket. But Harry and Meghan, years later, they're still everywhere. Every time they launch something, it's news. Every time they attend an event, it's news. Every time they release a family photo, it's news. Even when they don't say anything, somehow that's news too. Now that's a level of attention you can't fake. You can't call a meeting and say, all right, everyone, let's make the whole world care about us for 6 straight years. It doesn't work like that. People either pay attention or they don't. And judging by the endless headlines, people are definitely paying attention. But here's the part that really makes me laugh. The media's obsession with this whole Harry and Charles reunion story. Goodness me. It's like they're waiting outside the phone hoping it rings. Every little rumor becomes breaking news. They might meet, they could speak, they may be open to talking, they were reportedly thinking about possibly considering. At some point you just have to say, are you all covering a family or producing the next season of a soap opera? Seriously. Families talk, families argue, families stop talking, families reconnect. That's called life. Most of us have an uncle we only see at Christmas, nobody's putting that on the front page. But when it's Harry and Charles, suddenly every handshake becomes international diplomacy. Every conversation becomes a 10-day television special. It's honestly incredible. And here's what catches my attention. The people who claim Harry and Meghan should be left alone are often the same people refreshing their websites every 5 minutes hoping a reunion update drops. If they genuinely weren't interested, they'd move on. Instead, they keep circling back. Why? Because they know people are going to click. That's the business. Let's not pretend otherwise. Newsrooms aren't charities. They follow attention. If readers stopped caring tomorrow, those headlines would disappear tomorrow too. But they don't, because every Sussex story pulls people in. Some click because they support them, some click because they're curious, some click because they disagree. The reason doesn't even matter. A click is still a click. And that's why this has lasted so long. Here's the lesson regular people can take from all of this. You don't build staying power by going viral once. Anybody can have one lucky day. The challenge is staying relevant after the excitement fades. Harry and Meghan have managed to stay in the conversation year after year. That's why the headlines keep coming. That's why the debates never seem to end. And that's why the reunion stories keep popping up, like that one relative who says, "I'm just stopping by for 5 minutes," then stays until midnight. The world is still watching. And as long as people keep watching, somebody will keep writing the next headline.
One thing I've noticed is this: the headlines keep changing, the target stays the same. Seriously, think about it. A few years ago it was, Harry and Meghan will be back in 6 months. That didn't happen. Then it became, their marriage is on the rocks. Still waiting. After that it was, Hollywood doesn't want them. Meanwhile, they kept signing deals, launching projects, and showing up at major events. Then the story changed again. They're irrelevant. Really? If they're irrelevant, somebody forgot to tell the people writing 10 stories a day about them. At this point, the script changes more often than some people change their phone wallpapers. And here's what always makes me laugh. Nobody ever comes back and says, well, we got that one wrong. Nope. They just grab a fresh headline and keep it moving. It's like watching somebody miss 10 shots in a row and then confidently ask for the ball again. That's some serious confidence. Now look at what's happening with the Invictus Games. Suddenly we're seeing stories painting Harry as if he's desperately trying to get King Charles to attend in 2027. Notice the language. Harry wants, Harry hopes, Harry is trying to, Harry needs. Everything gets framed like somebody has already read Harry's diary. I'm sitting there thinking, were you all on the phone call? Because unless somebody was hiding behind the sofa taking notes, a lot of these stories are still speculation. That's what makes it so strange. The Invictus Games is about wounded, injured and sick service personnel and veterans. It's an event that has meant a great deal to many competitors and their families over the years. Yet somehow, parts of the conversation end up revolving around palace drama instead of the athletes themselves. It's like going to a football match and spending the whole 90 minutes talking about the parking lot. You're missing the main event. And here's the pattern. The minute one dramatic storyline starts running out of steam, another one magically appears. No break, no pause, just straight into the next episode. It's like your favorite TV series that refuses to end. Season 7, episode 43, the Sussexes strike again. Coming soon, the shocking twist nobody asked for. Roll the dramatic music. Regular people can spot this from a mile away. We've all seen gossip work like this. One rumor dies, a new one takes its place before lunch. Nobody checks whether the first one was true. Everyone's already chasing the next story. That's exactly how this feels. And here's the thing. Harry keeps focusing on Invictus. Meghan keeps working on her projects. Life keeps moving. But somehow the conversation always circles back to, what does the palace think? It's almost like some people can't imagine Harry existing without connecting every single move back to royal family drama. Maybe, just maybe, there's room to recognise that someone can care deeply about an event like Invictus, while also having a complicated family story in the background. Those aren't mutually exclusive. That's why I always say this. Don't get too attached to today's headline. Give it a week, there'll probably be another one saying the complete opposite. That's the cycle. Headline, reaction, prediction, silence. Then repeat. Round and round it goes. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan keep living their lives and everyone else keeps trying to guess what chapter comes next. That's probably the funniest part of all. Here's what I've learned in life. The people who spend all day talking about you usually aren't the ones deciding your future. You are. And that's exactly why this whole Harry and Meghan story keeps grabbing people's attention. Look at what's happened over the years. Headline after headline, prediction after prediction, opinion after opinion. Somebody's always saying they should do this, they shouldn't do that. They need to apologise. Apologise for what exactly? They should come back, they should disappear. At this point, everybody seems to have a career plan for Harry and Meghan, except Harry and Meghan. And honestly, that's hilarious. Imagine waking up every morning and thousands of strangers have already decided what your day is supposed to look like. I'd be exhausted before breakfast. But here's the thing, while everybody else is busy arguing, life keeps moving. Projects get launched, businesses grow, charities keep doing their work, kids grow up, new opportunities appear. The calendar doesn't stop because people are arguing online. That's real life. And that's the lesson I think regular people understand immediately. You can't spend your whole life trying to answer every critic. If you do that, you'll never have time to build anything. We've all met that person who always has something negative to say. You buy a new car, it's the wrong colour. You get promoted, you just got lucky. You start a business, it won't last. You could probably discover a cure for Monday mornings and somebody would still complain. You can't win that game, so why play it? What stands out to me is that Harry and Meghan don't seem to spend every day trying to clap back at every headline. Imagine if they did, there'd be 20 press conferences before lunch. Instead, the public mostly sees them continuing with their projects, their charitable work, and their family life. Meanwhile, the comment sections are doing cardio. Everybody else is running laps. They're debating, guessing, predicting, arguing. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan are just living. That's got to be the funniest part.
It's like watching people argue about what's happening inside somebody else's house while the people inside are eating dinner and watching TV. And here's something I've realized. Success isn't always about convincing people who already made up their minds. Sometimes success is simply refusing to stop because somebody else doesn't believe in you. That's how businesses grow, that's how YouTube channels grow, that's how dreams become reality. Not because everybody cheered, but because you kept showing up anyway. People spend too much energy worrying about who's talking about them. Wrong question. The better question is, what am I building while they're talking? Because talk is cheap, building takes work, building takes patience, building takes consistency. At the end of the day, noise eventually fades, comment sections move on, today's outrage becomes tomorrow's forgotten story. But the work you put in, that stays. So maybe the biggest win isn't having the last word. Maybe the biggest win is being so busy living your life that you don't have time to fight every battle somebody else wants to start. That's something all of us can learn from. Keep building, keep growing, keep chasing your goals, and let the people with too much free time keep holding their imaginary press conferences in the comments. Because while they're busy talking, your life should already be moving forward. Thanks for watching, Squaddies. I am your host, Miles. Catch you all in the next episode. Love you all. Goodbye.